How do you stick to your budget? Hello everyone, J3 here, and welcome to today's episode where you will learn 3 simple but effective tips on how to stick to your budget. Now, I know that budgeting isn't a very attractive thing to talk about because when you hear the word budget, it feels like limiting yourself and sacrificing. But I'm sure that everyone here also knows that if you want to achieve your financial goals, you will need to have some form of a budget. That's why I'm confident that everyone at some point in their lives, they had a budget where you wrote down how much you were going to spend for all your needs and wants for that particular month. But the real challenge is actually not in making a budget, but sticking to it even when life happens. You know, when someone in the family suddenly gets sick and needs financial help to pay the hospital bills. Or when you have friends who you've not seen in a long time will be visiting, and of course you'd want to go out and celebrate with them. Or when your partner strongly drops hints at you that they want a very specific gift. Or you get caught off guard, nahiritan, and syempre nakakahiya na mag-no. So you end up buying everyone coffee. Just one of these things needs to happen during the month and it will mess up your budget. And when you already know that you won't be able to stick to that budget for the month, you end up saying to yourself, bahala na, next month na lang ulit. But another thing happens again next month and you end up saying, bahala na lang ulit. And this happens over and over until finally people just give up and give up budgeting. You know, these things happen. That's why in this video, I'd like to give you 3 very simple but powerful tips to help you stick to your budget. Because honestly, many people weren't taught how to do proper budgeting. So they set themselves up for failure right from the beginning. But with these 3 tips, you'll be able to create a good budget and stick to it easily so that you stay on track with your financial goals. With that said, let's go to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is make your budget goals driven. Have you ever thought about what the purpose of a budget is? When asked that question, many people say that a budget is used to monitor and set boundaries on how much to spend on specific items. You know, food, X amount of pesos, rent or mortgage, another X thousand amount of pesos, and so on and so forth for everything you typically spend on. So if your budget looks like something like this, don't worry, this is a very common mistake. And it's easily corrected by knowing the ultimate purpose of a budget. And make sure you get this. The ultimate purpose of a budget is to allocate funds based on your goals in life. Let me repeat that. The ultimate purpose of a budget is to allocate funds based on your goals in life. So, yes, a budget can contain how much you spend for food, for electricity, and for rent. But the end in mind, the purpose of having a budget is to make sure you're allocating funds for your life goals. So, if you want to start up a business, you should have an item in your budget for your business. If it's in your goals to get married or propose to your girlfriend, then wedding funds should be an item in your budget. If it's your goal to visit your family abroad or get a master's degree or maybe join in international sports competitions, whatever your most important goals in life are, they should be the first things in your budget. And when your budget is goals driven, the feeling towards budgeting will change radically. Instead of feeling limited and constrained, you're going to feel excited because each time you stick to your budget, you know it's getting you closer to your life goals. And when you have positive feelings towards your budget, sticking to it will get much easier. So listen to this. Let's say your spouse is hinting for a new gadget and it will definitely mess up your budget. Which is a better story to tell in your mind? Option A, Dear, wag muna natin bilhin yan dahil wala sa budget. Or option B, Dear, wag muna natin bilhin yan dahil nag-iipon pa tayo para sa family vacation. See the difference? Attaching your budget to a life goal gives you a better reason to stick to your budget. So make sure first that your budget is goals driven. Next, let's go to the next tip. As you're watching this video, I know that some of you are thinking, I know my goals and it's already in my budget, but I just can't stick to it. There's just too many expenses na kahit bali-balik ka rin na ang numero, kahit magtumbling ka pa, hindi pa rin talaga kasya ang budget. This is where tip number 2 comes in. Tip number 2 is to get real with your budget. I know that people watching this video will have different financial situations. Some will be struggling to pay off their debts, struggling to make ends meet, while some will be doing okay, living from paycheck to paycheck, while others will already have financial security and freedom. The point here is, regardless of what your current financial situation is, you have to get real with your budget. If you're still buried in debts, or if it's clear as day that you're not making enough money yet, do not try to imitate the budget of someone else, of someone who is already financially secure. For example, in the book Abundance Formula by Brother Bo Sanchez, he recommends to use a 70-20-10 budget, where you live on 70%, you invest the 20%, and tithe or donate the 10%. There are other books that recommend other ways of splitting up the money. And while most of them are good targets, for many, they are totally unrealistic. So let's talk about this. How do you get real with your budget? First thing to remember is that your budget has two variables. There's two pieces to it. First is your income, then comes your expenses. Many people, when it comes to budget, just think about reducing expenses. Again, it's all about constraints and limitations. But hey, it's time to get real. Look at your income. Is it really enough? And for the people who answer no, for people where it's so clear that you're not making enough money, then all your energy should be focused on increasing income and not about reducing expenses all the time. Increasing income should be your immediate goal. For example, if you're currently employed but you're not happy with your salary, are you actively looking for a better job? Instead of looking at all your expenses, "Hay, ang dami-dami naman gastos," maybe it's time to network your way into better opportunities. Or what if you're happy in your job but you're not happy with the salary? Are you actively working towards a promotion? Do you know what it takes to get a promotion? Have you asked your boss what you need to do or what you need to learn, what skills you need to develop in order to get a raise? If you're self-employed or if you're running a business and it's clear that you're not making enough money, are you actively seeking ways to get more clients and customers? Are you allocating funds so that you can learn new skills, so that you can get more customers or offer better products and services? The bottom line is, you have to get real. If you're not making enough money, you should focus your energy on increasing income. Now, before we move on to the next step, I'm going to give a rather controversial piece of advice here, and it's up to you to decide if it makes sense. If you're someone who is buried in debt, or you're living on 200% of your income, or you're financially dependent on someone else, part of getting real with your budget is limiting what you give to charity. Even if the Bible recommends 10% of your income, if you're really in a bad situation, just give 1%. The rest of your money should go to ways for increasing your income or reducing your debts. If you truly need financial help, please help yourself first before helping others. This is what it means to get real with your budget. The third and final tip for sticking to your budget is learning to say no. This tip is so relevant, especially for us Filipinos, because of two things. One, we want to please other people. And number two, the concept of balato. Now, when something good happens to you, you're expected to share everything. Like if it's your birthday, it's common to hear, "So, kailan ka manlilibre?" Or if you get a promotion, you're expected to give out a promotion treat. And if it's also the first salary you ever got in your life, again, you're expected to treat your family to something special. Now, there's nothing wrong with helping others or treating others to a free dinner to celebrate, but if you do not want to do it, that is enough reason to say no. Because if you don't learn how to say no, sticking to your budget, it's not gonna happen. That's the reality. You have to learn how to say no so that you can say yes to what's really important to you. Saying no when you truly don't want to isn't a sign of selfishness or greed. It's not about wanting to keep all your money. It's a sign of self-respect. Respeto mo yan sa sarili mo at para sa mga pangarap mo. Hindi ka alipin ng kahit sino. Learn to say no so you can say yes to what matters most to you. Now, how do you say no? We'll talk about this in our other episodes. But for now, here's something we want you to try. Just say no to the next request that you don't want to do. Try it out. Whether you say, sorry, not now, hindi mo na ngayon, or just a quick nope, or ayoko, I don't want to. Just say no to the next request that you don't want to do and see what happens. If you've been a pushover, kung palagi ka na lang nag-yes sa mga requests sa'yo, you're going to see surprised reactions. But that's pretty much it normally. The world won't end, and it will feel weird at first since it's the first time you're doing it, but over time, it's going to feel empowering. It's going to feel good. You know why? Because you respected yourself by saying no. So to summarize everything, sticking to your budget actually involves things bigger than your budget. Number one, your budget needs to be goals-based. For your life goals, make sure it's in the budget. Number two, get real with your budget. Take a look at both the income and expenses and work on improving both. And last, number three, learn to say no. When you learn to say no, you give yourself the freedom to say yes to what you truly want in life. And that's how you stick to your budget. Hey there, J3 here. Did you enjoy this episode? If you did, well, there are two things you can do right now to continue your journey towards financial freedom and abundance. First, subscribe here in our Pinoy Money Academy channel so that you'll get updates on our new episodes so that I can send you free training videos on everything and anything about money. Second, if you want faster results towards financial freedom and abundance, you can subscribe to our 5 Pillars of Wealth online video series. This is a free series of 3 eye-opening, life-changing videos where you learn about the 5 most essential concepts needed for anyone to become wealthy. And if you don't know these 5 pillars of wealth, well, you're disadvantaged in your journey. You can view this training for free online just by going to the following URL. That's pinoymoneyacademy.com/5pw. The link is displayed here on the video. Again, the link is pinoymoneyacademy.com/5pw. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Until then, always remember that wealth is a choice, so choose to be wealthy.